friend of mine said, why don't you make a small video of all the trains that you've made for your SM32 garden railway. So here's a short rundown of what I've made to run on my small, at the moment, railway. Okay. Right, this is my first loco. This is Tom. It's an 040 tank loco. As you can see, it's made a brass chassis with a using Meccano gears and a worm gear to drive. There's a worm gear to drive direct from the motor itself. Most of the motors I'm running here are low drain 540 motors and or 380 or 385 equivalent. It's very basic really. All my stuff's radio control. The batteries sit inside the cab, and you've got the speed controller inside and the receiver inside the cab. Can't really see that, but still, there you go. So yeah, it's it's very basic, but almost cartoony. But it's actually really quite a powerful engine, this one, and it goes really quite well. The next one is Joyce, named after me mum, me late mum. She was a bit of a tram. Anyway, it's a steam tram. It's got a working light in the front. And if I take the top off, you can see it's quite a hefty motor in there. It was one I had knocking about at the time. Again, with the radio control and a little bit of extra weight in there as well to hold it on the track. But it's quite nice. It runs really well, this one, and it's also very powerful too. Connected rods as well on the outside linkage, which is quite nice. And again, worm drive, big worm drive, using Meccano stuff. All the Meccano stuff I got off of eBay. Very useful for bits and pieces like that, and a real must if you're looking for bits and odds and sods. Right, this next one is Pip. It's actually an Mamod steam train, which I could never get to run properly in its steam version, so I did a conversion job and put an electric motor in it, and it's a very smooth runner, this one, very smooth. The original gear, just an extra connecting rod, just to make it look better really, more than anything. And again, the battery goes in the cab. And all the electrics are in the cab. But yeah, it's quite a nice little runner, almost ready made actually to be converted. It was a very simple conversion. Right, the next one is Guppy, named after my brother, great uncle Peter. We always called him Guppy. So there you go. There's a diesel shunter. This is slightly unusual in the fact that it's got a belt drive inside. The motor's got a belt drive to the worm drive that runs the gears, and it's also got little rubber tyres on it because it only drives on one wheel. So, and the rear one just follows behind. So to give it a bit of traction, I had to put some rubber tyres on. It's actually quite good. It's quite powerful. Again, the battery goes in the cab, and all the electrics are in the cab. Yeah, quite a little bit of fun, that one. This one hasn't got a name. It's a diesel rail car. It's based on an American design I found on the internet, the curved windows and stuff, which I quite liked, and a cow pusher on the front. Quite nice. It goes really well, this one too. It looks the part. And inside, loads of room for a big battery. Again, direct drive onto a worm drive to power it, and only on the rear wheels. Only powers on the rear wheels. And a little four-wheel bogie in the front. Give it that added extra look. This is my latest one. This is an 060 tank with a tender and a driver this time, because I put all the electrics in the tender, which hides them out of the way nicely. Again, all worm drive, Meccano driven worm drive. Yeah, nice little runner. I had to change the motor. The motor wasn't that powerful, so I put a slightly more powerful motor in. And that's the Jilly Bee. Now we're into the coaches now. This is one of the coaches. I had to remake the bogies because the original plastic ones weren't up to much and they actually kept breaking, so I actually made some out of brass, along with a new set of wheels. So that's the Edna. Even my coaches have names. And then there's an observation coach which goes behind, which is Mary. This has still got the plastic wheels on. They seem to be slightly turdy, and also I put some stiffeners in because to stop them collapsing. And this one's got an observation deck with a guy in it. Some people I purchased recently. So that's one of the coaches. They're all made out of wood. Most of it's all made out of wood. And then I replanked on the outside the balsa, and you get a nice finish. Get a nice sort of wooden look to it. To go with the diesel shunter, I made a couple of tipping wagons. These are permanently linked together. Again, they're just a light brass chassis on these ones. They're not that heavy. They seem to hold the track quite nicely, and also, of course, you can put gravel inside the trucks as well. Next on the list is my milk wagon. Again, all similar. How I make all my stuff is cut out. I got some nice big lump of brass sheet. It's about 2-3 mil thick, nearly, just under 3 mil thick. So I make the chassis and then make the wheels, turn them out of nylon. I like the nylon bar. It's quite nice. It's dead easy to turn. It looks good. And the axles are old Meccano rod, which is quite a nice size, quite nice and sturdy. This particular one is drain pipe tube, basically, and the ends I turned out in the lathe out a lump of wood, and then just smoothed them down until they were nice and smooth and looked good. And then all the extra metal work is just brass sheet and a bit of galvanised checker plate look-alike on the top. So they're all scratch built. Oh, I quite like that one. That's really nice, that one. This is my gas oil tank transporter. It's basically a big bottle, a plastic. It's all made of plastic card. This one, it's all plastic card, and the extra hose is just wrapped. It's a piece of tube wrapped in a light rope. And the checker plate is just plastic card, which is scored with a knife, really, and then painted. So, you know, there's lots you can do quite easily. And finally, this is my guards fan. It's on actually an old Mamod chassis that I had with the steam train, and I converted it and made the guards fan on the back. Again, another figure inside, random figure inside. That runs quite nicely too. It's quite tall as well. Right, the final two. I got a flatbed wagon, and again, these are just literally just plastic tubes, drain pipe. Which is something to put on a flatbed, really. And finally, just an open truck. The milk churns I got recently, they're off eBay. They're not great, they're not fantastic, but they look the part in the truck anyway. Right, well, that's it. I hope I've given you some inspiration to build a garden rail of your own. It's certainly been lots of fun. I've had lots of fun last year during the summer building it and running my trains on my track. And look out for future videos on YouTube. Thank you.